Navy Captain Robert Lansden drops in on a kindergarten class in Basra.
I want to thank them for being such beautiful children.
Lansden has an important role in that city's rebuilding. And for this New Orleans native, it has been an unlikely journey that began on August 29th, 2005.
I knew the city, I was from there, I knew the high ground from the low ground.
Lansden tells photographer Julie Dermatsky about his experience as captain of the U.S. NX Pollux.
And I saw my own city destroyed. And I worked really hard to help bring that city back up.
The merchant marine ship happened to be docked in New Orleans as Katrina roared ashore, undergoing repairs. Its engines were out, but it was loaded with several 100,000 gallons of diesel fuel and fresh water. In a city that did not function, the Pollux was an island of modern convenience. That was in sharp contrast to what was happening miles away at West Jefferson Medical Center. For days, the hospital had no power, no running water.
People were starting to get sick. We would have to get them out of here. So we were frantically trying to get them out of here.
Dr. Charles Thomas worried most about kidney dialysis patients.
One of the problems is that we didn't have any running water for dialysis patients.
Seemingly out of nowhere, Robert Lansden showed up at the hospital.
It was just one thing after another, and I was blessed to have that ability and to have ridden through the storm to already be there.
Lansden got permission from his Navy bosses to share his supplies: diesel, water, even the ship itself. Dialysis machines and close to a dozen dialysis patients were actually loaded up from West Jeff and driven to the Pollux.
And then proceeded to procure a couple of vehicles and dialysis nurses and some patients, and with his help and his men's help, loaded everybody up and went over there and hooked them up.
Dr. Thomas is absolutely certain that for some patients, it meant the difference between life and death.
No question about it. Absolutely saved lives, because he provided a resource where we could get patients dialysis.
So eventually the buses that evacuated all the people used our fuel. The National Guard used our fuel.
After his Katrina experience, Lansden volunteered for duty in another country in need of rebuilding. Today, he is director of CMOC, the Civil Military Operations Center. It's rebuilding roads, schools, and public buildings in some of the most dangerous areas of Iraq.
The more I looked at it, the more I saw the reconstruction wasn't being done in Iraq as good as it could have been, that they needed leaders here.
It's a subject that Robert Lansden speaks passionately about.
The men that are working here in the CMOC are making a difference. Reconstruction is happening, at least in Basra. It's powerful, it's strong, we're rebuilding the ports.
A passion born out of his experience in another port city.
And I realized, being from New Orleans, how important reconstruction is.